This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 220. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 DVDs a week. Ow! Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop came out with some new minis that are a very interesting kind of reimagining of a classic Age of Sigmar faction, and I played some games of 40k. And imagine how well I did in those games. But first, have you ever needed a website to call your very own, but you don't know where to get started with all these squares? Well, today's sponsor Squarespace can help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to design the website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Blueprint. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers an unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, and add-ons, all capped off with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, and go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. In Age of Sigmar, the faction, or I guess the subcategory that I prefer is the Order. I like the guys who are fighting against chaos, and apart from me, well, I do kind of have the Fire Slayers, but I've never been that jazzed about the Idoneth Deepkin. But I do still like the Idoneth Deepkin. Their lore is really, really cool. These mysterious underwater elves that are like kind of cursed abominations. They've been forsaken by their god, and they're not very well liked in the world of Warhammer, which is fair because they steal souls. But the miniatures that exist for the Idoneth Deepkin are very like pet store fish tank like styling. I'm not a huge fan of the Idoneth, but we got some new Idoneth minis, and I feel like Games Workshop might be trying to shove the Idoneth in a little bit of a different direction, which I very much appreciate because these new models look sick. The Temple of Sardoni lies at the crushing nadir of the Mathnar Sea. I love these names. And the resulting place of the Orion Lantern. This guy's a magic wielder, but he looks so cool. And there's finally some actual like styling options that look appropriate for spooky underwater elves. His staff is seaweed, which isn't particularly impressive, but like I'm sure in Idoneth culture, that seaweed is very interesting and impressive. He's got no gloves or boots on because obviously, like he lives underwater, he doesn't need boots on, and his headdress is rather spooky. His eyes are very subtle in the mask, and he's got this big like soul stone right on his forehead, and this big like wavy, a little bit coral, a little bit seashell headdress with these tendrils coming off of it, which also kind of help to show like the magic coming out of him. This model is absolutely sick. And it reminds me a lot of the current magic-wielding mage model for the Idoneth Deepkin. And let me just read you a little tidbit of the lore. It is the Tidecasters who conjure the phantasmal sea that allows elf and aquatic beasts to move and breathe as if they were in their own natural environment. They are able to conjure spells from the repressed anguish of the Idoneth, the curse that echoes still from their ancestors' torture within Slaanesh. Such magic takes the form of crushing waves of despair, black pits of hopelessness, or raging maelstroms of horror that shatters the mind of the foe. And then you got the miniature for the Tidecaster. And it's just, it doesn't fit at all. Like this little paragraph of text is dark and depressing, and it's all about the Idoneth, and it even brings up Slaanesh and how all of the elf souls are either still trapped in Slaanesh or have been recently stolen from Slaanesh. And then you got this Lumineth Realm Lord character. Like, she's got boots on. She lives under the sea, and she's got like these big floppy leather boots on and a scroll. Scrolls don't work well underwater. There's a huge disparity between what the miniatures look like and what the lore looks like. But you reread that line of text, and then you look at the new guy. The new guy looks like that line of text. He looks like he casts spells based on despair. Where the current character, I mean, she's got her eyes closed and she's holding up a fridge magnet. It's just not, it's not correct. Like the current models look good, but if the new models were just Lumineth Realm Lords who happen to live by the sea, perfection. They look absolutely great, but they're not the Idoneth Deepkin. The Idoneth Deepkin are like horrifying. One of my favorite units is the Namarti Thralls. These guys are the pale-skinned, no eyeball, weird symbol on the forehead, and these giant kind of necklace things around their neck. And the reason that they look like this is because when Teclis invented the Idoneth, he wanted them to be his noble, like, protege elves that harken back to the glory days of the elves in the old world, but it didn't really work out, and the elves weren't right. And so these elves, like 1 out of 100 of them is born normal and can go on to lead a proper elfy life. But then most of them are cursed. They're born with withered, weak souls. And they figured out, the Idoneth, not Teclis, figured out how to sort of fix this by taking the souls of mortals and putting them inside of themselves. And so they can maybe live like half of a life. And they lose their ability, they lose their eyes because the eyes are the windows to the soul, and their soul barely works. And these runes that are carved into their flesh and these big things around their neck also help keep the soul trapped within them. And so it kind of gives the Idoneth Deepkin purpose of going out and raiding to capture humans or to capture any creature with a soul, bring it back to their dwelling to feed it to like the next generation of Idoneth Deepkin. Like, it's really dark and depressing, and these models aren't that dark and depressing. They kind of just feel like elves with a little extra nautical theme to them. I don't know, I think like there's something there with the Idoneth. They could be really, really, really cool, and hopefully this new model is Games Workshop just kind of sort of fudging the Idoneth in a better direction, because the Idoneth can be really cool, but currently they missed the mark. It's not that. Also, another just little thing about the Idoneth, why are they not actually underwater people? Like, give them gills, give them a mermaid unit, give them tridents. Like, there's a squad of Namarti Thralls that have bows and arrows. You know what don't work underwater? Bows and arrows. Give them spears. Like, it doesn't make any sense how much Games Workshop just did not get that they're doing an underwater faction. This brand spanking new Idoneth is perfection, and I really hope that the Idoneth Deepkin range is really, really small. Like, I think they have like 16 units, including probably the combat cards and their token terrain piece. So it would not be that hard for Games Workshop just to kind of redo it. Let's take another try. I mean, they've done it twice already with the Stormcast Eternal, so why not give the Idoneth Deepkin a little extra love? And speaking of giving a little extra love, I gave my Necrons a little extra love this week. I played some games of 40k, and I was so excited. I got some new units done, I painted up a whole bunch of destroyers, and I was ready to play some Necrons. And I really, really underestimated the sheer killiness of Warhammer 40k 10th edition. Holy cow. So I was bringing Awakened Dynasty because I really like my classic, you bring your Necrons and you bring Cryptex and Lords to go with them and you attach them together. And so like my entire army is hitting on 2s. I got crazy reanimation protocols. I have the Dawn of War rule where if somebody dies, I can spend a CP and then they just stand right back up with I think half their wounds remaining. But that's perfectly fine because I have reanimation. So in my command phase, I can bump those numbers up even higher. Like, I was really excited about this list. I definitely built a very fluffy, flavorful list. My first game was against Sisters of Battle, and it was a pretty good game. I ended up getting tabled, but I didn't get tabled until like turn 5, so it was kinda okay. I did a decent job of killing some stuff. I killed a couple of squads of Repentia, and I pretty much whittled down a squad of Argoflagellants, which Argoflagellants, did you guys know that they get 6 attacks? I mean, they have to have hazard on their attacks if they throw 6 attacks, but it doesn't even matter because they have a 5-up, 5-up. Like 6 attacks each for a 10-man squad is 60 attacks. It's kinda nuts. But I did manage to drop Morven Vol and a squad of Paragon Warsuits, which it took like half my army just putting it all into Val, but eventually we got there. That game was pretty fun. The second game I played was against New World Eaters, and holy cow, the New World Eaters. So I think the big problem with my list is it's a bunch of big blobs of Necrons, and I think the name of the game is gonna be multiple small units, because a lot of the times these attacks are so incredibly powerful that they pick up entire humongous squads. And so if I just didn't bring humongous bricks, my opponent would have to waste a ton of damage, because there's some really, really punishing data sheets. The Forge Fiends, they have D3 blast plasma guns, 3 of them, and that 3 of them is really challenging because they have blast and they have rapid fire. So, you know, this squad shooting at something, it's 3d3, so about 5, plus 3 for rapid fire, plus blast. And so he was shooting at my big squad of Scorpex. And so there's 6 guys in that, or 7 guys in that squad, so he gets plus 1. So that's another plus 3. That's a lot of plasma. And if he was shooting at my Necron Warrior Blob, which was 21 models, that would be plus 12 extra free attacks. Like you don't want to give the Forge Fiend any really good targets because they just will die. My big brick of 6 Locust Destroyers led by the Lord, fresh, beautiful unit with new paint on them. They were looking nice. They got one punched by what's the word bearer's big stompy flappy boy, the Greater Demon of Khorne. One punched him, just one punch, whew, all gone. So probably maybe bring a few squads of 2s instead of one big brick of 6. I'm excited to play more Necrons because I have a ton of Necrons, and so I'm definitely gonna be able to edit and rearrange my list a little bit. Wraiths were the MVPs in both games. Wraiths are ridiculously good, especially in Awakened Dynasty attached to a Cryptek with the Canoptek Cloak. That gives plus 1 to all of their attacks, and their pistols have devastating wounds. Like, Wraiths are just weirdly good. Not quite as good as they used to be back in the day of, I think, 6th and 7th edition. I think they had a 3-up invulnerable save. Now they have a 4-up, but 4-up is still excellent. So, I don't know, I might get another squad of Wraiths, or I might just play around with multiple small units, which would help out anyway, because I definitely didn't have enough units to be able to take advantage of certain cards that want me to do actions in the shooting phase. So definitely need to play around a little bit more and play some more games, but holy cow, there is some crazy lethality out there. And you know what else is very scary? Or not scary? EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch, like the EOB dice. We've also got wet pallets, water slide decals, basing toppers, and bits. It also has the very best way to support us with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly terrain packs or any previous pack we have ever made. Here at Eons of Battle, we make monthly terrain packs, and this Titanic monstrosity is our terrain pack for June. What better way to show off that a battle is serious business than a god machine already dead on the ground? These shattered remains create thematic line of sight blocking and ruined terrain, perfect for grimdark games with a Titanic rigor mortis claw, silent cannon, and lifeless eyes. This beast won't be doing much but looking pretty, while those who are still kicking win the day. This ruined titan fits right at home with our previous crash spaceship terrain. Let me know in the comments below, have you guys ever put together like a beautiful shiny Warhammer 40,000 list and you get all excited to play it, and then you find out you done did it wrong? I mean, I think it's kind of a bad list. I took like big giant bricks of everything I wanted. Maybe tech into like a couple of big pieces and then fill in the rest with units that are a little bit more responsible. I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing. Thanks for watching.